Collages. Collages. Collages? You know, whenever you just start saying a word and it doesn't sound like a word anymore? I'm Jess, I'm a collage artist, and today I have 2 new surreal collages to share with you. So if you're looking for inspiration or you just want to hang out with me for a little while and learn about my process, then this is for you. Okay, let's get started. So this collage began with a background that I had already removed the river from. I had a direction that I wanted to go from the start. So I pulled out this new book that I picked up from a library book sale that includes lots of aerial views of beautiful places. And from the beginning, I knew I didn't want to add in another water scene. So when I found this picture of a field, I thought it looked really cool. And when I placed my image on the top, it kind of looked like the people in the field were surrounding the tower, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know, some things just feel sort of kismet, like they were sort of meant to be. It's fun when you find pieces that just sort of seem like they line up nicely. I knew that I would need to start looking for some additional images, and I liked the idea of these people sort of working on the tower. They're small though, so they're not really standing out very well. So I looked through my National Geographic. I found this image of these 2 guys. They're shaking hands and they're connected by their hands, and I thought it would be cool if I could place them somewhere in the scene. It was a little tough to cut them out, but I don't know, you'll have to tell me if you think it was worth it. I think my issue with this collage, if I could describe it, is that even though the people are technically really large compared to the building, they are not visually all that large. So the impact of the scale difference is really not that big. Then I went to a huge book sale. I went with a friend and it was a lot of fun. We went to like this arena area where a library was hosting a giant book sale that had tons and tons of books. I tried to get a little footage, but it was hard. I didn't want to violate anyone's privacy, so hopefully this gives you a sense of the scale and the size and how big it was. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so one of the main issues that I have right now in my material finding process is I have a tendency to pick up the same kind of book over and over and over again. I think this is really normal to be drawn to things that you just like the look of, and for me it's a lot of landscapes, it's a lot of aerial views, or I have a lot of nature books. The thing is that that's not necessarily an entirely bad thing. The books that I have tell you a lot about the kind of collages that I make or the things that I find important. However, when you have an excess of too much of the same kind of book, I think that we as artists can feel a little stuck, you know? We're not finding the right pieces because we have too much of the same kind of thing. So in this little adventure, what I tried to do was look for books that I would not normally pick up. I looked at a lot and I found some really cool things, and I tried to keep in mind that I didn't need anything that had really close artistic crops. I didn't want to have anything that was mainly nature related. And I avoided, like the plague, anything from National Geographic. I think I was pretty successful on this run. For my next collage, I started looking through this National Geographic book of extraordinary places, people, things. Seeing one image sort of triggers you to think of another image, and that's what happened here. But then I kept flipping and found this little bug creature, which made me think, oh, that's perfect. I'll use him because it can look like the little boy's riding the bug. It's just fun to me, I guess, in watching this back to see how I got from point A to point B. Because to be honest, this is not how I remembered it going. In my memory, I found the little boy first and then immediately went to this bug image. But it was funny to watch it back and realize that this bug image was not the first thing that I saw that made me pull the little boy image. Does that make sense? Without the context of the cow and the hose, it looks like the little boy is sort of fending something off. I started looking through more books to see if there was something that I could put in the way or in front of him. The problem with the current composition of this page is that he's in the center, so there's really no room for putting something to the side, which sort of led me to feeling like maybe I just needed to pull this creature out of the leaf background. It will lose some of the scale aspect by taking the creature off of the giant leaf, but I don't know that that was really coming across well anyway, since the background was so blurry. So I cut the creature out, and I was a bit bummed to do this because trying to cut around all of these strange little, I don't know what they are, filaments, hair, was really hard. One of the good things about the background that I did choose was that it's very green, and that's sort of the background that it was coming from, so I'm hoping that any bits of green that I might have missed in the hair is sort of absorbed by the green background. So I place the creature and the little boy and kind of get a sense for how far over I can get them to scoot so that there's room on the left side for something to be coming into the scene that they are in conflict with. I start looking through some magazines that I just have on my desk. I don't really know what I'm looking for in particular. This is that third piece, we've got the subjects and our background, and now we need that third piece to create some sort of meaning. And the third piece could be anything. I'm trying to keep my mind really open. I have zero ideas about what it could be. Unfortunately, I look through a lot of books and very little seems to stand out to me. And then I found this story about women in business, which, frankly, was just quite fascinating. I think a lot of magazine ads in old magazines sort of create a picture of women being fully domestic, but this article about women in business was really eye-opening about how people of the time actually thought about women in business, or at least the women speaking to other women, and not necessarily advertisers speaking to women. Eventually, I landed on this toothbrush, and it just reminded me of, being a kid and, my mom asking, "Did you brush your teeth tonight?" And, going, "Yeah, I did." And fully having not actually brushed my teeth, which probably I shouldn't admit to. But I loved the color of the toothbrush. I thought it contrasted well with the background, and it looked kind of like it was in the same color family as the bug that the boy is riding. I thought it was a funny concept to have this little boy sort of fending off, brushing his teeth. I guess to me, it is sort of about fending off responsibility, even the responsibility that you have to yourself, because you really don't have a concept of why those things that your parents told you to do were so important. All right, well, that is it. Those are my 2 surreal collages. I really want to thank you for hanging out in the studio today with me. If you want to see how I incorporate fine art into my collage adventures, then check this video out. Or if you just want to hang out with me a little longer in the studio, then check this playlist out. Okay, bye. See ya. Bye. Bye.